गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम बैक टू पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है में आपका फिर से स्वागत है। मैं आज एक स्पेशल कैटेगरी का इन्वेस्टर्स के बारे में बात करना चाहता हूँ। इनको हम एंकर इन्वेस्टर्स कहते हैं। जब भी किसी आईपीओ आती है उसमें से एक बड़ा चंक ऑफ स्टॉक्स को कुछ एंकर इन्वेस्टर्स खरीद लेते हैं। इस इन्वेस्टमेंट आईपीओ के पहले ही हो जाती है। तो अगर ये एंकर इन्वेस्टर को देख के रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को और एचएनआई को कन्विक्शन आएगा कि इस शेयर में हम निवेश कर सकते हैं। लेकिन एंकर इन्वेस्टर को थोड़ा डिस्काउंट में वो स्टॉक मिलती है, लेकिन वो आईपीओ के इमीडिएटली बाद उसको बेच नहीं सकते हैं। टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट अ न्यू सेट ऑफ investors whom we call as anchor investors. Anchors investors give stability to your initial public offering. They come in just before the IPO. At times they get a slight discount to the IPO price, and they cannot immediately sell after the IPO is done and the stock is listed. There is a lock-in period for a particular period which SEBI mandates that anchor investors cannot sell. That is normally between 9 months to 1 year. There's a specific date at which they can sell. So what happens is anchor investors invest in a stock, wait for 9 months, and then they can sell. But what has been seen is that in the year 21-22, a lot of anchor investors have lost money. In the year 21-22, more than 1 lakh crore was raised in stock markets. What also happened is a lot of anchor investors invested in some tech stocks, which was the flavor of the month because of the loose monetary policy in the United States and the rest of the world. Money was available freely. Nobody asked us about profits. Companies wanted to keep on growing irrespective of whether they were making profits or not. Such technology companies with no ideas or no road to profits also listed in Indian stock markets. Zomato, Policy Bazaar, Car Trade are some of the examples of these kind of companies. These companies had to be listed because the early VC investors wanted an exit and wanted to get out. Those people's price of the stock would be in less than zero because the amount of money they have invested over a long period of time, the average price of stock would be very less. These investors realize companies like Zomato or Policy Bazaar have no way to profitability. They wanted an exit and it was not possible to play passing the parcel. What is passing the parcel? Private equity investors sell these stocks among themselves in new rounds of investing and keep on increasing the value. At some time, they don't realize that the music will stop. And then when the music stops, the last man holding the parcel is the loser. This is why Warren Buffett has called private equity investing as akin to fraud because it's like gambling. This took off in a big way because American banks were willing to lend money against collateral, which was basically stocks owned by wealthy people for minimal rates, at times less than 1%. These wealthy people took that money, put it away in private equity funds, which played Ludo or gambled with that money in the Indian stock market. This kind of investing is what spawned companies like Zomato, Byju's, Swiggy, all of which have no idea when they are going to make profits, or for that matter, Policy Bazaar. These companies were hyped as unicorns because a group of investors kept passing the parcel among themselves till the valuation became too big. Some of them wanted out, and they wanted out. They did a public issue. The public issue was done when the markets were euphoric, liquidity was available in plenty, and some of these stocks, which are below their IPO price, listed at huge listing gains. The idea was that anchor investors would buy this stock just before the IPO, and the stock would be high for 9 to 12 months, and then they could exit. In Zomato Policy Bazaar, what happened is that the American Federal Reserve realized that inflation is not transitory and is getting entrenched, and therefore decided to increase interest rates. And they increase interest rates at a very fast pace from 0 to 5% in matter of months. This had consequences and banks were reluctant to lend to HNIs at cheap rates. This forced private equity investors to pull out their money and they wanted a partial exit. And the only way they could exit was dump these unprofitable stocks on the books of gullible retail investors, either directly or indirectly through mutual funds. This is how these funds were launched, how these IPOs were launched. Zomato, which was priced in the mid 60s, went up to 175 on opening. Retail investors were mad. Those who didn't get it in the IPO went and bought it in the secondary market, and then the bottom fell off when people got wise of the fundamentals. The stock kept falling and fell as low as 50 rupees before the promoters or founders, as they are called in startup, tried some gimmicks to push up the price of stock again. This is true of all the brands I have discussed so far. The only one which is consistently profitable is Nykaa, but its profits are so low that it does not justify the valuation that Nykaa commands today. And Nykaa, which started as a pure online player, now has decided that it will also sell directly through saloons. It has tied up with saloons like Naturals to keep a cupboard full of these products so that whenever a client is interested in buying, he buys it in Naturals. The Naturals owner also get a part of the cut in the margins, and Nykaa gets reduced margins. Nykaa is desperate to try to push up sales, but it has found that when it pushes up sales, it has to discount and the profits drop. And when they try to retain profits, volumes drop. Either way, Nykaa doesn't need this kind of premium that it is generating today. Sooner or later, even Nykaa will get into trouble. All these companies, Paytm, Zomato, Policy Bazaar, there is no way they are going to be profitable in the near time. The retail investors are left with the bathtub and the bathwater, which has gone out long time back. This is why anchor investors, especially mutual funds, have lost money and therefore are wary of playing the game this year. The major losses of this year, other than the companies I told you, are LIC, Delivery. Also, in both these cases, the anchor investor has lost a lot of money. So, anchor investors are circumspect of investing in IPO boom stocks. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है देखने के लिए आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ मैं। Kindly subscribe to our channel, like this video and turn on the bell notification if you have not already done so. I urge you to send this video to your friends and relatives and ask them to take a look. Once again, I thank you for your support for पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। मैं सिंगापुर आ रहा हूँ 29 अप्रैल। सिंगापुर में हॉलिडे इन में एक इवेंट है। बहुत सारे हॉलिडे इन हैं सिंगापुर में। मेरा इवेंट हॉलिडे इन एट्रियम ANIHG होटल में है और उसका नंबर 317 आउटरैम रोड सिंगापुर 169075। Once again, I tell you the address in English. It is 317 Outram Road, Singapore 169075, and the name of the hotel is Holiday Inn Atrium. I will see you in Singapore. Thank you for supporting Paisa Bolta hai.